So today we're going to go over how to set up the Nest Wi-Fi router system if you have that. So you can see I've got the main Wi-Fi point here and I've got what looks like a modem over here. So the first thing you're going to need to go ahead and do is make sure you've got all of these cables and everything plugged in to the correct ports. So you can go ahead and the first thing you probably want to do is hook up the Ethernet cable that connects from your modem to the main Nest Wi-Fi point. So on the back of your modem, everyone's modem is going to look a little differently. I have a coax port down here and two Ethernet jacks up here. You might just have one Ethernet jack or even more. Sometimes you have one that's labeled specifically internet. That's the one you want to use if you have a modem that looks like that. So we're going to go ahead and plug in one end of the Ethernet cable into the back of the modem. On mine, it doesn't matter which one, but yours might be labeled. So again, pay attention to that. Once you have it plugged into the back of the modem, you want to plug the other end in to the main Nest Wi-Fi point, which I have here. And if you flip over to the bottom, you can see it here. And you have some information and you can see the two Ethernet ports at the bottom there. And you can see one that has some arrows and one that has what looks like a planet Earth, kind of a globe there. You want to go ahead and plug the Ethernet cable into the globe side. So now I've got the main Wi-Fi point plugged into the modem. You can see the rest of my modem is not set up. That's because I just have limited space here. But your modem will probably already have the coax cable and power plug plugged into it. That's great. You just plug in the cable. So make sure those are plugged in and anything else you need on the modem. And then you can go ahead and hook up the power, which is located right here next to those Ethernet ports on the bottom. So you can go ahead and make sure all of that's connected and powered on. And we'll move on to the next steps, setting it up in the app on the phone. Now we're here on the phone, so we can continue the rest of the setup for the Nest Wi-Fi system. So first, you want to go ahead and open up the Google Home app. That's the app we're going to use to set up these devices. So select that, and then if you have multiple homes, go ahead and drop down and make sure you're in the one you want. Then you want to click on the Add button in the top left-hand corner. You want to click Set Up Device. And you want to choose this first option here. Select the home you want it in. Now it's going to look for the device. Remember, we have it plugged into the modem and hooked up to power, so it should be able to find it. And as you can see, it says found the Nest Wi-Fi router. That's what we're looking for. Tap yes. Now it's going to ask me to scan the code on the bottom of the device. So go ahead and do that. You will see it's just a QR code on the bottom of the Nest Wi-Fi router where you plugged in the Ethernet cables and the power cable. Now it's going to get everything connected here. Just take a few seconds. Now that it's connected, it's going to ask you what room this particular device is in. So this is the primary point of the Nest Wi-Fi system, and we'll go over how to add the other points to it. But make sure you label it in the correct room. That'll just make life going forward easier for you. And when it's all organized in the Home app, it'll appear in the right place. So this is purely for organization, just to make sure it all works right and is easy to access. If you don't see one of the rooms here, scroll down and create a new room by selecting any of these options. Okay. But I'm going to go ahead and put this in the office because that's where it is in my actual house. I'm going to select next. Wi-Fi name. So now we're going to create an actual name for the Wi-Fi. So we're just going to do where is that setting, but you can name it whatever you want. So this is the name that's going to show up when you're searching on your other devices to add a Wi-Fi network. So when you look on your phone in your Wi-Fi settings, it's going to pop up as whatever name you have here. If people are looking to add it, this is going to be the name of the Wi-Fi you want to tell them. So now we'll tap Next. Now you want to go ahead and create a password for it. As you can see, you can't really skip this even if you click the three dots, so you do need a password. But this is just good safety and to help you keep your network secure. So you can create the password. Don't make it too easy to guess, but it is your decision. You will also be able to go into the Home app at any time and find the Wi-Fi password if you do forget it. So if someone's trying to add it, you forgot what it was, you can jump in the Home app and you'll be able to go in the Wi-Fi settings and see the password. So then you can tell it to someone. So I'm going to go ahead and make a password. Now that I've created my password and click Next, this says turn on Wi-Fi router and point usage stats. It's up to you whether you want to opt into this or not. I'm going to, but you can click no thanks. This asks if you want to turn on Nest Wi-Fi cloud services. So there's just a bunch of information here if you want to turn this stuff on or on. You can turn it on later. So if you say no thanks now, but you find out these features would be beneficial for you later, you can go ahead and change them and turn them on if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and click yes, I'm in. Now it's going to create the Wi-Fi network for me, which is going to take a few seconds here. So now it's going to want me to connect my phone to the Wi-Fi I just created. So I'm going to tap Next. It's going to search for Wi-Fi. I'm doing this on an Android phone. If you're doing this on an iPhone, it may make you jump out of the app, go to your Wi-Fi settings, connect to this new Wi-Fi and log in, and then come back to the app. And if it doesn't show up here, you can always jump into the Wi-Fi settings yourself and log into this network and then come back to the app. You won't lose your progress or anything. Now I'm connected to the Wi-Fi. It just went through a few setup things there. Now it's asking if I want to set up another Nest Wi-Fi device. And I do. I do have a Wi-Fi point that I'm going to go ahead and set up now. If you don't, you just have the main router, you can click Not Now and continue on to the rest. But we're going to tap on Yes. We want to add another Wi-Fi point. So now it's telling me where I want to place it. And basically, you want to place this Wi-Fi point no more than 2 rooms away from another Wi-Fi point that you already have set up. So whether that's 2 rooms away from each other on the same floor, or maybe it's a floor down below. So if say this is in the office and your office is on the main floor and then you have a basement, you probably want to put the second Wi-Fi point in the basement kind of near where the first one is. So count that as a room. If you're going from the office down to the basement, that's 1 room. And then if you have another room in the basement, that would be your second room. Okay. So that's kind of 2 rooms apart. Or if it's on the same floor, you can move it 2 rooms away from you. Okay. If it needs to be a little further than that, you're welcome to try to put it further than that. As you'll see, once we get this set up, it will run a test to see how well the mesh connectivity works between one Wi-Fi point and another. And I'll tell you if it's weak, if it's okay, or if it's strong, and you can move your Wi-Fi points based on those readings to get kind of the strongest mesh signal and whole home Wi-Fi that you can. And remember, you can add up to something like 6 Wi-Fi points or something if you really want to. So you can always buy more Wi-Fi points, Nest Wi-Fi points later, and add them to this system. So I'm going to go ahead and I've got it placed already. So I'm going to tap Next. Now it's going to ask me to plug it in, which I've already done. So I'm going to tap Next. Now it's going to look for the device. Let's say the Nest Wi-Fi point was found. Would you like to set it up? Once you clicked next on that last page, it's going to ask you to scan the QR code on the bottom of the point. Once you do that, it's going to bring you to this page where it's going to connect to the Nest Wi-Fi point. That's connected. It's going to ask if I heard that sound. I did, so I can continue and tap yes. If you didn't, you can click retry, and it'll make the noise again. Remember, these Wi-Fi points in the Nest system have a speaker in it for the Google Assistant and to play music and stuff through. So that's what you're hearing that sound come through, is the speaker built into the device. I'm going to tap yes. I'm going to tap I agree. Yes, I'm in, but again, this is up to you. You can say no thanks if you want to. Now I'm going to select which room this one is in. So as I said, this is going to be the basement. Tap next. So I had to create a new room there because I don't have any other devices in the basement. But that's okay. Now it's going to connect to the Wi-Fi and everything. Get it connected. Now it's going to add the Wi-Fi point to the network. Once it's connected, go ahead and tap next. Go ahead and tap next. You can read all that info if you want to, or you can just skip through it like I am. Now it's going to ask if we want to activate voice match on this device, because again, it is a Google Assistant speaker. So you can go ahead and do that if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and tap next. I agree. So I've already set up voice match on previous devices, so it's going to take that same profile and move it over to this speaker. If you've never set up voice match before, it's just going to ask you to say about 5 phrases to your phone. That way it can recognize your voice and send that info over to the Nest Wi-Fi point that again has the Google Assistant in it. Tap I agree, but again, if you don't want to get personal results and stuff like that, you can tap no thanks, but I want to, so I'm going to tap I agree. That's going to ask you to put in your home address. You can skip this if you want to, or you can add in your address. It'll try to auto-populate your address for you based on your phone's location. But do make sure, if you do want the address, that it's the correct address all the way through, because sometimes it can be a little off. This will help with things like local weather and stuff like that. So when you ask the assistant for weather information, it'll be able to give you accurate information based on the street address you put in here. I'm going to select confirm address. There we go. Now it's asking what do we want our default music service to be for the Google Assistant. I use YouTube Music, so I'm going to leave it at that, but you can go ahead and select from any of these. If you select Spotify or something, it's going to ask you to sign into your Spotify account, so make sure you have that information handy if that's what you plan on doing. I'm going to select next. Sometimes on this page you'll get ads and stuff like that. To set up stuff like SiriusXM or maybe some other subscriptions. I'm going to tap not now. Here I can go and set up my Netflix account and stuff if I want to. You can tell your Google Assistant to cast something from Netflix to a Chromecast enabled device, like a Chromecast enabled TV. So if you have a Chromecast plugged in your TV, you can do that. You can set that stuff up and log into those accounts, but I'm going to select not now. Again, another ad, not now. And then this says get started with voice calls, and you can go ahead and set this up if you want to. You can also do this later in the Google Home app, which I will do, so I'll tap not now. That says basement Wi-Fi is ready. I'm going to click continue. Now it's going to ask me if I want to set up another Nest Wi-Fi device, but I don't today. But if you do, you can click yes, I'm in, and you'll basically repeat those same steps we did. So I'll tap not now. There we go. Now this is what I was talking about before. It's going to test the mesh network, the mesh connection. So Make sure you have all your points in the right rooms that you want them to be in before we get to this. That way it can run this test and be accurate. And so it'll say basement Wi-Fi has a great connection. So it's not too far away from the main router. It's just right. So I'm going to leave it where I put it. And if you have other Wi-Fi points that you set up, you'll see the whole list here. Okay. I'm going to tap next. I'm going to click no thanks on staying in the know just because I don't want a bunch of emails for them. But if you want to, you can click sign up. They'll email you with new features and stuff like that for the Nest Wi-Fi system. Click no thanks. Now it's going to go ahead and download and update the Nest Wi-Fi routers and the Nest Wi-Fi points that I just set up. So this could take a while, so I'll skip ahead in the video here. Now it's downloaded the update and it's restarted the devices and everything. So I'm going to tap next. It says your Nest Wi-Fi is ready. So you can see here's all the information here. This is just more information about the Google Assistant and what it can do. Swipe all the way down and the Finish Setup button will pop up. Tap that and here we are. So you're going to see in here, I now have the basement room with the basement Wi-Fi. And I have the Nest Wi-Fi router right here. So you will see all your points show up. And so if I click on the Nest Wi-Fi router in the office, because that's the main point, that's the one connected to the modem, you can see I get some information here. I can run a speed test. I can tap on the settings. And I can see the device name, which I can tap on and change if I want to. See what home it's in, see what room it's in. And it has a status LED. If you don't like that, you can just turn it off. And you can restart the network or factory reset the network here too. So if you're going to get rid of the device, you can go ahead and make sure you factory reset it first. So that's how you go ahead and set up the Nest Wi-Fi router mesh system if you have one. Hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can get notified about other helpful tech videos I post to the channel. Thanks for watching.